Good morning, Belizeans, both at home and abroad. We come to you live once more from the Parque de Industria, specifically the Centro Nacional de Información, and this is the actual counting station. However, right outside from the building where we are, there is a polling station, and Yaya is going to tell you what she observed, because remember, we are practically, it's minutes to 10, so it's going to be about 3 hours or so almost of voting that's ongoing.
Yes, so the Embassy of Belize has a vehicle that transports Belizean media around officially. We're picked up at different hotels, brought to the official counting station. And like Maricel said earlier, there's a polling station outside. There were already people lined up, maybe about 25 to 30 people. Right across where we are is a big, huge, it's like a warehouse, and they have cubicles set up, spacious cubicles for different media houses. They have TV in their spaces. They have real nice like TV sets, counters, various mics, their backdrop to identify their media houses. To our immediate left, there is a bay of media houses. They have their individual cameras. Moses is going to pan over to the left. When we came, they were already had occupied the platform, so we then just came next to them. That platform is now our border. That's their media house. This is our media house. This is the Belizean media house. And so there are a number of people on the ground. They're volunteers. They're media workers. There are people who are still organizing for the official opening ceremony. I believe it is, Marisol.
Security forces outside.
Security forces outside, yes.
And emergency personnel as well. Gracias. Someone passing by and saying welcome. So what's happening behind us, right within what's considered the counting station, apart from the media cubicles? Apparently the background is where the TSC, the Supreme Electoral Tribunal, which is the equivalent of our Elections and Boundaries Department, it's set up for press conferences and to make announcements. So we're being told that in a few minutes at 10, they're going to be doing a press conference. The president, Maria Eugenia, no, it's not Mar. Yeah, so she's going to be doing a press conference at 10, and she will be sharing what it is that's transpiring today. I guess any other attendant details as to the referendum day here in Guatemala. However, as we were sharing yesterday, they did in fact do a pre-referendum press conference, and so there are some important information that you would want to know in terms of counting and what it's Mihangos. What she shared is that at 5 p.m. she mentioned they will have the counting mark at 0. I would have to speak to someone from the TSC to find out what specifically that means, but what she says is that we're going to do that at 5 so that at 6 counting can start. Remember, voting ends at 6, but they're going to start the actual counting process at 6. And then at around 10 p.m., they expect to have the result. However, they're saying that it may very well be earlier, and that's good for us, right? Because yes, the earlier the result is known, it's going to be better, and it's that since it's just a yes-no vote, it's going to be way easier in terms compared with elections that are for president and the different municipal bodies. So that's one of the details that is interesting for Belizeans to keep on following. And in terms of actual polling stations, there are 2,872 voting centers, equivalent to our polling stations. Out of those, 1,872 are schools or educational institutions. They have 340 actual centers that are in municipal areas. That would be, I guess, the generic centers where you have the different polling stations. So there are 340 in municipal areas and 812 in rural electoral divisions. Remember, we are saying that Guatemala has 22 departments, and these are spread throughout those 22 departments. What's important to note for this referendum, it's the third that Guatemala is having. In the last one, which was 1999, they didn't have any rural voting centers. So that's very important because it also means that it's more accessible for people to come out and vote. So that's what's happening on the ground. As soon as we have more information, specifically if there's anything new that's coming out from the press conference that's going to be held at 10, then definitely we're going to be sharing that.
Let me ask you a question. Right across from the building where we are, there's another building.
Yes.
What's happening in that building, Marisol?
So I'm hoping that throughout the day, our team in Belize City is able to put that together. It needs to be edited just a tiny bit so that the people can see what we're talking about when we refer to the counting station here in Parque de Industria. So outside of this warehouse, looking as Yaya described it, building, there's another building on the same compound, and I'm going to call that the brain center of the counting station. So what they have in there is one room closed off, but you have glass. It's glass to the top, so you can see inside. I only saw one person there, but remember, counting begins at 6. So activity here will be ongoing throughout the day, but it's not going to be as heavy as when the counting begins. But there is this one person in that brain center where you have about a dozen computers. So their voting system and their counting system seems to be upgraded with technology. It's up there. It's up there. What I was told is that yes, throughout the day they're gonna be showing how many people have voted so far, much like what we have as well. The Elections and Boundaries Department in Belize does share that on their website. Here on the ground, they will have that on some big screens, both in the brain center. They have the computers in one section, closed off in one room. There's a screen, big screen in the middle of that room, and then to the left as well as you enter, there's also another screen. And so what I'm told is that if you can see right behind me, there's one screen. It's expected that on those screens right in this press center of the counting station, they will be sharing the same information updated throughout the day in terms of how many voters have come out so far, but there won't be any information as to who's voting yes or no yet, right? That's going to be available when the counting is starting, more or less. So
One final thing for you this time. You secured an interview that will be aired in the future today with a volunteer?
yes, but it's in Spanish, so we're going to have to well, she doesn't speak English, so we're going to have to figure out how we do that in terms of the translations. So we want to thank, yes, we want to thank all our viewers for remaining in tuned. Thank Moz, who's behind the camera, Yaya, and